politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on The Fact Today, only on ATN.
Telling him not to counterpunch.
Well, good morning and welcome to Sports Walk on 99 on Atlantic Television Network. My name is Ekpo Temple. On the show this morning, NOC relieves fear of Olympic ban. Djokovic receives walkover into Wimbledon semi-finals, and in football, Super Sub Watkins sends England into the Euros. And details of this and many more will be yours in our jiffy.
Telling him not to counterpunch.
Every day, our lives are changed by history,
We are one people, all of us.
leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition is what they blood.
I have fought very firmly.
natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
Driver, why you just dey jack us up and down like this now?
I hope nobody carry belle o.
Why you ask o?
Because this road wey you dey see so, e no guarantee safe delivery o.
We just dey vote for government, but we no get good governance.
At all.
Road so e no dey, light o usai, the infrastructure nko e come turn to be forbidden fruit for the city.
Corruption spoil everything. Hello?
Hello, madam. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Mrs. Ayeni. I am calling from the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs.
Okay.
Okay, I've been expecting your call.
Madam, remove this your phone from loudspeaker.
No verse. Now my phone be like that. Hello?
Are you there?
I hear, I'm hearing you.
Yes. We saw a copy of your invoice for computers, printers, and laptops.
Yes. Are you working on them now?
Ma, the prices you quoted are way too high now.
Madam, sorry, please don't cost.
We found the laptop you said is 1.8 million naira for 600,000 naira.
Hello?
Now my body network there.
I can't hear you. Network is bad.
Madam, we can hear you. Continue.
Hello, I can't hear you. I will call you back.
Their behavior not good now.
Madam, now this kind behavior they kill our country. You suppose do things differently. Make Nigeria for better.
Corruption not in my country.
This message is brought to you by the Akin Fadeyi Foundation, the MacArthur Foundation,
and with broadcast support from Atlantic Television Network.
Corruption not in my country.
What do you want to buy?
Potato. Small basket. I want plantain. But why your plantain can't hard like this?
Madam, now the outside hard. Inside there, it is very soft.
Madam, wallahi make her no buy. Make her show you something.
All right, welcome back from that break. If you're just joining us, it's Atlantic Television Sports Talk here. Emmanuel Michael is in the studio to bring you the electrifying stories in sport this morning.
Yeah, good morning, Temple, and good morning to our viewers out there. Always a pleasure doing this with you.
All right, and of course, we'll start from the home scene where the River State Governor Sir Fubara has splashed cash gift worth over 160 million on Rivers athletes who were recently crowned champions in various national and international tournaments. In an elaborate ceremony hosted at the banquet hall of the Government House in Port Harcourt, Governor Fubara said it is not about the cash rewards, but an encouragement for the spirit and love the athletes have for the state, which enabled them to represent and make the state proud through their victories in the various tournaments. Mike, I think this is a lovely and a worthwhile, showcase from the governor.
Yes, for me, I think it's a nice one to know that the sport, that the governor is a sport-loving governor, and that is why it's deemed it necessary to also reward different sportsmen and women in different sporting categories who has done the nation proud, so far this season. I think for me, it's a massive feat, and it's an encouragement to any sportsman and woman out there hoping to also do the state proud, because you have a loving governor. At least he will take note of your exploits out there, and it's more like a challenge to the youth out there to take part in various sporting activity, knowing fully well that their exploit will definitely be recognized by the #1 citizen of the state, talking about the governor. I think this is the way to go for me, because most times we keep talking about a poor reward system for our sportsmen and women, right from the local government level down to the state level. Before you talk about the federal, most times people who have done on the jersey or the color of the state or the country to do us proud, many times they are not done adequately as it ought to be. But I just thank God that the governor have deemed it necessary, not just for the athlete, but other sporting strata who have done the nation proud, or the state proud rather. We saw what River Troopers did, and some other sporting event so I think for me, it is the way to go.
It is the way to go, and of course, it was Naira galore for the teams, and we saw that clearly. The governor, in his pronouncement, gave the victorious Rivers United under 17 players a sum of 30 million naira. Rivers Supers basketball team got the sum of 25 million. Rivers Angels got 25 million. Rivers Beach volleyball team 10 million, and the hockey team got 10 million naira, Mike. These are some of the amounts doled out to the big teams in the state.
Yeah, it's just not like what I said earlier. It's not about just the athlete, but different sporting strata who have done the country or the state proud rather. Volleyball team, the basketball team, Rivers United, and all of that. So for me, I think it's a nice way to encourage them doing more. Going forward, I think this will also enable some of the sport ministries in different strata from the state out here to up their ante, knowing fully well that they have a governor who keep a close tap on their routine activities to ensure that they keep bringing the glory to the state very high. So for me, I think it's more like recognizing those who have put up an impressive feat for the state. I think it's a nice one, like I said earlier. It's also a challenge as well for them to do more, because to whom more is given, more is also expected.
Others are Rivers table tennis team. They were given 5 million naira. We also saw that clearly, and the volleyball team received 10 million naira. The Paralympic team got 10 million naira. Cycling team got 5 million. Supporters club got 20 million naira, and individuals who won trophies to receive 2.5 million each. And this is a way to say that yes, I mean, the athletes have done so well. We also hear that he directed the sports minister to agreeing to urgently design and commence a sporting festival that will climax in December to enable the sports celebrate the best from the tournament as a way to further encourage and support the productive talents and potentials of the youth in the state. And this is another area that is very lovely. I mean, having a sports festival, we haven't had that for a very long time. If the governor says that there's need to host a sports festival, then truly we might be seeing something, a brand new event or invention in sports in Rivers State.
Yeah, for me, I think it's a new way, trying to fish out talent. You need to go back to the grassroots, and having a sports festival in the state would be a massive one, because that will also bring different local governments together to vie for honors in different sporting categories, and that is how you get to discover new talents, that will do the nation proud. We have enormous talent cut across different local governments here, but the platform for them to express their God-given talent is always the issue. But when you're having a sport festival in the state, I mean, that is one of the loveliest way for you to unearth new talents out there and possibly groom them for the future, who possibly in the near future might not just make the state proud but the country proud like. So for me, I think the governor, like I said earlier, look as though he's a sport loving governor, and that is why he's taking every step to ensure that sport ministry is positively repositioned for good, so that we begin to churn out talent, and River State as well will begin to compete favorably well in terms of the sport festival, across the nation. And like I said, it is the way to go. If you want to develop sport, you must take a deliberate and a strategic plan towards doing so. By doing so, you need to go back to the grassroots, because that is where the real talents are. You need to give them the platform to also excel and do the state proud, which for me is what the governor is looking at. He has also charged the sport minister in the state, talking about Barrister Christopher Green, who also understands the language of sport management as well, to ensure that proper plannings of event is put to place so as to ensure that this sport festival become actualized, and not just being actualized, but to use it as a medium to also unearth other talents that is going to continue to do the state proud.
I will continue to do the state proud, and away from that, but still in Rivers State Tech Ball Championship, Rivers Ways, Fosa Austin Bosa has qualified for the quarterfinals in the men's singles of this year's Tech Ball Championship, ongoing there, at the Eimba International Stadium in Aba.
Massive one. Just 3 or 4 days ago, when we were discussing our sister station, we were talking about the fact that River State can make tech ball their own brand of sport. Just like they've taken basketball as one of their own, Bayelsa State have made wrestling their own as well. Lagos State, you talk about athletics, they have also made it their own. Talk about the likes of Ogun State as well. So for each state, I think we should have what I would call more like an area of comparative advantage in terms of sports. And for me, you take a look at the tech ball team of Rivers State, I think they've been doing very well. They have the manpower, they have the skills as well. They have people who understand the knowledge of the game. And they were saying a few days ago that they are ready to also help to tutor and teach many other states, who are interested in learning the techniques of tech ball to come on board. And for me, it clearly tells you that indeed Rivers State, when you talk about tech ball, they are up there. Look at the exploit that they're doing out there. So for me, I think if we put more effort, we can possibly domesticate it here in the state and become a point of reference, just like Bayelsa State has become a point of reference in terms of wrestling as well. So for me, I think it's a nice one, and more effort should be put in so as to ensure that this sport become the hallmark of the state as well.
This is, of course, becomes the hallmark of the state, and we hope that in the nearest future, we'll get to see some of the athletes showcasing their style and excellence when it comes to tech ball activities in Nigeria from Rivers State. All right, away from that, now let's bring you other interesting news here, and I can tell you for sure that it is not just Rivers State where events are happening. In Delta State, the government has commenced the payment of monetary awards to athletes who participated at last year's National Youth Games hosted by the state. This was disclosed by the Director General of the Delta State Sports Commission, Mr. Festus Owojero, who revealed that the athletes will start receiving their monetary award, and he said that the commencement is in earnest to ensure that the government fulfill their promise to offset all outstanding allowances and award to athletes and officials of the state contingent.
For me, I think it looks as though most of the state is beginning to recognize the need to reward sportsmen adequately after their hard work. The other day we saw the governor of Ogun State talking about Prince Dakpo Abiodun also doling out millions of nairas to the sportsmen and women in the state who have done on the call of the state to do the state proud as well. Even those who took part in the last African Championship in Ghana, about 11 of their athletes were part and parcel of those 100 of those athletes that actually won about 121 silverware. They just concluded all African game in Ghana, and just 3 days ago the governor of the Ogun State doled out a heavy amount of money for the sportsmen and women, and we are beginning to see that line of trajectory by other states and other governors. We saw what the governor of Rivers State also have done, and then Delta State, not left aside. Of course, we should understand that Delta State, they take every sporting activity, every sporting event very serious, and that is why when you have to do with the youth game here in the country, they always come out top in that very one. They dominate. So for me, I think it would be nice if we continue to see this positive sign that governors or different states beginning to take cognizance of the fact that sportsmen and women who have been doing the nation proud, the state proud, should be adequately rewarded after their hard effort, because most of them, they also have challenges to deal with. They also have family, they also have needs to attend to. So for me, it's not about the handshake. Handshake is very good. The praise is also very good, but then there should be a substantial monetary reward for these sportsmen and women, because they have bills to pay. It will also keep them going. It will also encourage them to do more for the state. So for me, I think if different states truly recognize the need to start adequately rewarding sportsmen and women, I mean, sport will generally develop. And of course, you know that sport is one of the major employer of labor out there. If you take a look at the amount of people that is taking part in different sporting category and the others or the other, and you aggregate these people together, and you will definitely understand the need and what it is for so many people to indulge themselves in sporting activity, and by so doing, they make an ends meet and make name for themselves, not just for themselves, make the state and the nation proud. So for me, adequately rewarding them is just a perfect way to develop sport and to also encourage those who are doing well in their different sporting strata to continue doing the things that they love doing.
I'm just wondering why the states have to delay this much to get get the athletes paid. For some of them who did the states proud since last year, the delay and the timing for the reward, it looks like it's because we're already expecting another edition of the youth games coming up soon, and maybe that's why they're doing this to, so that they can be encouraged. But maybe if we do not have, it would have lingered much. So, the timing, what do you think about the timing of the payment? It's almost a year now, and this is when you want to start paying. That for me, that doesn't look encouraging at all.
You should understand that the redneck tapism in government couldn't just allow smooth sailing of some of these ideas and to also reward this person, because don't forget, some of the governors, they just came into office barely a year. Some of them have not been able to settle down to review some of the documents previously left by the previous governors. So, like I said, you need to pass through protocols in government before you get there. It's not just an expressway where we just say that something happened to them and they are taking a drastic action or a quick action rather. So most of these governors came into office not less than maybe less than a year ago. So you expect them to pass through the protocols before getting to look into the files of some of these different ministries, because it's not just sport alone that the governor will be attending to as a state governor. There are so many functions out there. So you need to do due diligence in government before you actually approve anything, and that is why for me I think maybe they delay, but then it's better late than never.
It's better late than never, and let's see how far this will energize and prepare the athletes, to getting more medals for their various states, especially, Ogun State, Delta State, and Rivers that have thought it wise to really encourage their athletes. Let's move away from that. Let's talk cricket now. On the show, as Nigeria's senior cricket team, the Yellow Greens, are in Kenya to take on the Simbas in a 7-day bilateral series from tomorrow to 20th of July, and it looks like that competition will continue. The series, they say, is 220, and the format will be 5 games in the former and 2 games in the later. And of course, the Cricket Federation yesterday released a 15-man squad for the series, with the captain, renowned Sylvester Okpe, being joined by the trio of Isaac Okpe, Isaac Danladi, and Emmanuel Udokwe, who are currently engaged in the Zimbabwe National Premier League, Mike.
For me, I think you talk about cricket here in the country, they've been doing their bit to ensure that at least they're able to put the country on the map out there. And of course, you can't actually fault their efforts so far. Taking a look at their track record or their performances over the last 12 months, you want to say, yes, there's a bit of improvement from what we've seen. This one is another mini tournament to help shape them up and keep them fit for the tasks ahead. So for me, I think some of this mini competition is very necessary for them to keep fit and to also perfect their plan and gain more experience and exposure. So that is the way to go. And they need to also be very, very consistent about taking part in any tournament, because by doing so, they keep improving their skills and trade as well. So for the cricket team of the country, they should continue to learn through the rope. Maybe just someday we might get it right, but then I think it's a nice one to take part in such a mini competition. It's a nice one to take part in such a mini competition, and I can tell you for sure that massive preparation, Steve Tikolo, the manager of the side, and will always be there to also put finishing touches and ensure that Nigeria, perform excellently in this year's competition. Let's talk wrestling now, and of course we'll move to the series where the head coach of Nigeria female wrestling team, Purity Aku, has expressed satisfaction with the performance of the Nigerian wrestlers at the Spanish Grand Prix. That's the preparation in earnest ahead of the Olympics, and the wrestlers who they participated in that particular one, we saw 2 won medals and then 2 lost it out. But the good thing about it is that when a coach
give credit to his team. It shows that yes, they might not have achieved so well, but there is hope going into the tournament proper, and that's what Purity Aku is doing here.
Yeah, for the Wrestling Federation of Nigeria, I think if there's any other sport that have had massive improvement and consistent, positivity, you can't take away what the Wrestling Federation have done so far. And for Purity Ako, I think it's one coach that has been able to, impose herself on the hearts of the wrestlers out there. I think it's a nice one. This massive preparation will also help us as we head to the Paralympic game. Despite the fact that one of our major silverware hopeful, talking about Dunayo Adekoro, couldn't get a positive finish in that very one. But then we saw what the rest of the two wrestlers did out there. They were able to finish within the podium, which for me I think is a positive sign while heading for the Paralympic game. I can tell you for free that for the Wrestling Federation, in this year's Paralympic game, they would definitely do something very magnificent out there, because you take a look at the level of their preparation, which actually started here in Yenagoa before they moved down. I tell you, everything is set in place, and I know that they are basking in the euphoria of the confidence and the massive preparation they've had going forth so far. So I'm very positive that if they continue with this positive mood that we've seen of them the last 3 weeks where they've been in camp, I tell you, we'll definitely come back smiling after the Paralympic Games.
And of course, we hope that with that commendation and acknowledgement of the feats and preparation of the wrestlers, Nigeria can go all out, to pick more medals other than the just one medal they picked the last time in Tokyo. All right, so let's talk the Olympic proper now, as a Great Britain will be banking on medals for at least 9 Nigeria-born sports stars at this year's Olympic Games in Paris. This follows the confirmation of the roster from Team Britain and the Northern Ireland heading to Paris later this month to commence a hunt for medals in various sports. Of course, if you get to see, this like this, and you begin to ask yourself, if we had used them, or if they are for Nigeria, we should be talking about medals coming in, but somehow we'll get to see them in the colors of another nation. And then, I don't know, but the one thing very certain is that you cannot stop athletes from representing where they feel that, that have groomed them and also better their career.
Yes, I think for me it's a disappointing one, hearing this news and seeing the previous record of Nigerian-born sportsmen and women who have decided to pick up other nationality for representation instead of their fatherland, talking about Nigeria. But then you can't actually blame some of these sportsmen and women, because if they narrate their stories to you, what they pass through in this country, not getting the opportunity, not getting the support as well to, harness their God-given talent, and they just go outside the shores of the country, there they get the proper attention, get the facility to train with, the adequately taken care of. And for me, you wouldn't want to leave such a country who give you hope where there seems to be no hope in your career, to represent your fatherland who did not even care for you. So for me, it's always a thing of disappointment. But then again, you can't actually blame some of these individuals. We've seen, if not for the poor planning, poor remuneration system, poor care, poor attention, for some of these Nigerian-born sportsmen and women, today we'll be talking about that Anthony Joshua or Israel Adesanya is representing Nigeria. But all these big names we hear in the world of different sports, talking about the octagon and in the boxing arenas, I mentioned Joshua and the Israel Adesanya. These are Nigerian-born sportsmen and women, but they've decided to, go for New Zealand and Britain, respectively, to represent them. We have so many of even the athletes representing New Zealand and other, nation instead of their fatherland, Nigeria. But like I said earlier, you can't actually blame them. If they narrate their story to you, you will definitely see reasons with them. But I think it's a quite disappointing one. And I know the Nigerian Sports Federation is also will be you know, considering and thinking about this, that if all things were to be okay, these sportsmen and women that is donning on the colors of other nationals should have been representing Nigeria. And you know what that means? Yeah. If all of them come together and represent the country, means when we are going for major tournaments, such as the Olympic Games, can be rest assured that Nigeria will top the list of the countries that will be vying for serious medals. Okay. You know, so for me, I think it's a disappointing one, but then that is just the reality.
That is just the reality. And one thing very striking is, as we prepare for the Olympics, it looks like, Mike, tomorrow is the D-Day, the judgment awaits, and we'll get to see how, how it goes. But there is fear looming around the NOC headquarters and athletes, you know, because it smells doom if Nigeria is found culpable, you know, after the investigations and the pronouncement of any judgment that negates, you know, our value. And of course, we cannot even talk about the punishment that comes with it, but tomorrow certainly is that D-Day where the Court of Arbitration for Sports will rule on the allegation by the World Anti-Doping Agency on the country's involvement or non-compliant on the rules of anti-doping code.
I think we'll keep hearing these issues, and there's also, just like you said, there's palpable fear in the air of what lies the fate of the country come tomorrow. Of course, they've also assembled their own legal you know, adversaries as well that is going to, you know, defend them in this very one. But then, can we get a soft landing? Can we pull through in this very challenging time? Because just less than maybe 15 days before the Paralympic game, the fate of many Nigerian athletes is hanging on the balance. And you know what that means? It could be very devastating and heartbroken that if the judgment did not go in our favor. What simply means is that all the Nigerian athletes going for this year's Paralympic game will be representing themselves as neutrals. Even if they get to win any silverware, the national anthem will not be sung. And for me, I mean, it doesn't show any pride. It means that Nigeria just went for the Paralympic game without their name being sung, without the national anthem, without their name. Even if we get to win any medal, Nigerian flag cannot be hoisted. So, and we don't. Another negative angle is that we will not have any chance of hosting any major athletic event in the period of, you know, serving this punishment. That is, if actually...
And that's very devastating.
Yes, that is if actually the pendulum did not swing in our own favor. So I think they should deal with it. The Athletic Federation of Nigeria should deal with it. And it's part of their mistake as well. And let me not blame them yet, because they still remain innocent until proven otherwise by, you know, the apex court or the competent court, which is the World Athletic, you know, doping issue. But then, like I said, there is fear in the air, and I just pray that we'll get to pass this very one, because after training so hard, waiting for the Paralympic Games, talking about the athlete, and you just discovered that within 15 days of the championship, you discover that when you go there, you win any medal, it cannot be attributed to your country. I mean, it will be
you will now be like a refugee.
Exactly.
You know, the likes of Russia and others that have been banned, and the athletes will just come there. I mean, the pride of winning a medal and standing on the podium is, when you win a medal, you sing your national anthem. But
and it will also be recorded in the annal of history for your country. Because even if you go out there and win all the gold medals, nobody cares. Millions years to come, nobody knows about you because you are not recognized. That is the worst thing.
It's very unfortunate. What that happens is they give you the medal, but nothing comes.
Nothing.
You know, with it. And the pride, like I said, of every athlete in the Olympic. Because Olympic, you're not paid for to win. When you're winning, you're not giving any financial, except for the athletics now that want to start financial incentives for winners. You know, before now it used to be that medal and the glorious moment for your country that matters so much. And so, but Tunde Papola, the Secretary General of the Nigerian Olympic Committee, is very expressive and very optimistic that we can get over this. You know, the Nigerian way. I hope it favors us.
You know, there is always this hope for Nigerians. Even when the light is very dim, we still see lights at the end of the tunnel. But then again, it is our country. Let's keep our fingers crossed, hoping that the judgment is going to swing in our favor.
Let's talk tennis now, and our first point of call will be all that played out yesterday at the 137th edition of the Wimbledon. And I can tell you for sure that it was a clinical moment as former champion Elena Rybakina cruised into the semi-finals of the WTA in the Wimbledon with a fine finish over Elena Svitolina on center court.
It's very simple. The devastating shock, the mental instability, psychological pains and trauma that Svitolina went through in the heart after a few days ago when she learned rather that about 26 people were killed in her hometown, dozens injured, children hospital, attacked, sporadic shooting, more like serious warfare in her native land out there. It could be very, very devastating emotionally. But then she was able to overcome that in her last game before the yesterday's game. But then after the game, you saw her shedding tears. It was very emotional. Also for me, it takes someone who has a monstrous, psychology and the big heart to also accommodate such terror in your heart out there to be able to come top in that very room. But at this point in time, she had no time to also even get a psychologist that is going to talk some more positive things into her heart so as to forget momentarily the war ongoing in her country. But then the timing was not there, so it was expected that for me, I just knew that she may not be able to stand the mental stress and the psychological pain of what is happening in her homeland, to stay strong on the court in that very one. And it actually broke her down, and that is the major reason I think that Svitolina lost that very one, and it's very, very sad for me.
Very, very sad, and of course, she will now face Czech Barbora Krejcikova, who got past Jelena Ostapenko in a 6-4, 7-6 win there on court 1 yesterday, and looks like this all is set now for what is a showdown with the both sides in the finals.
Yes, of course. As it stands right now, she's the highest ranked player that is still left in the competition after seeing the likes of the defending champion who led very early, likes of Marketa Vendrosova, world #1 as well. Iga Swiatek also knocked out. Onjobwa, some of the big names in the WTA have been knocked out. As she stands right now, she's the highest ranked player left in the WTA, and you may want to say yes, she might just make this one count, because I think being the highest ranked player left in the tournament, having come this far, I think no doubt she just might make this one count for her. But then she still has some more hurdles to cross before she gets to that promised land of lifting this year's Wimbledon.
And of course, elsewhere, we saw what played out yesterday as Lorenzo Musetti called it a magical day as he beats Telefriz in 5 sets to secure a Wimbledon semi-final with 7-time champion Novak Djokovic.
Impressive one for Musetti out there. It was a hard-fought game, more like a back and forth. He has to stretch to the 5th set before he was able to come out top in that very one against a very good and a very strong player, talking about Taylor Fritz as well. More like who wanted the more, and look as though Musetti was the player that wanted the more, and he went for the bull eyes, and he got it. I think it's a big congratulations, but then big obstacle awaits him because he will be coming up against the world #3, talking about Novak Djokovic, the master himself. It could prove very difficult for Musetti, but then you can never say never. If the hunger is there and the passion is there, who says Musetti cannot upset Novak Djokovic? He is beatable, but then it's a big challenge in his heart, to deal with.
Of course, Novak Djokovic himself, we hope that he can get his hand on another Grand Slam as he's through to the semi-finals after Alex de Minaur withdrew from the last 8 due to a hip injury.
Disappointing one for Alex de Minaur, because I think it would have been one of the greatest games in his career, coming up against the big man himself, talking about Novak Djokovic. I think would have afforded him an opportunity to probably make a history for himself out there. But then hip injury did not allow him. As he got a walkover over, the player. But for Novak Djokovic, more like a blessing and a curse. A blessing in the sense that he did not lift a racket. He has passed into the next round of the competition. But a curse in the sense that he did not have a very viable and competitive game heading into your next game against Musetti. And that may count against him. And that is why I said it more like a blessing and a curse for him. Depending on the angle that he looks at it. But then I still think that Novak Djokovic is still one of the greats in the game, and he knows how to get the job done and does that. But it would have been to his own advantage if he had played a competitive game before heading into the next game against Lorenzo Musetti.
And of course, we'll see how that pans out, but we'll see. It looks like massive preparation now are in for the semi-finals, and so today, tomorrow, we should be concluding on that, because the finals for the women comes in on Saturday, and the men will be battling it out, tomorrow to know who goes in preparation for the Sunday final. And for Mike, but in all that you've seen so far, I'm sure that at this point you begin to think that we begin to have a sense of who you think can emerge winners in both the male and the female category.
Well, for the female category, I think it's going to be a very difficult call, but we still have the highest ranked player in the women category who hosted out Vitolina just yesterday. But in the ATP, talking about the main category, it's still a very difficult call to make here, because for Musetti, he's a very good player. Novak Djokovic, a good player any day, anytime. Carlos Alcaraz, still very much around. Also, the ATP is going to be a very difficult call to make on who emerges champion in that very one. But then, we just keep our fingers crossed, hoping that the best players, will make it count for that very one. But like I said, it's a very dicey one. You talk about experience. You may want to say, okay, Novak Djokovic, because of his experience and his record chasing a title after making it 24 Grand Slam, you want to make it 25 this time around. This might just possibly be the difference between him and other players. For Carlos Alcaraz, we've seen his improvement so far this season. So he want to also maintain possibly his number 2 spot, or possibly try to dethrone Jannik Sinner as the world number 1, and this will make it count as well for him. For Musetti as well, will also be hoping to have a date with history as well. So these are some of the things that will make it more difficult for all of these players. That is why I can't, instantly pick one player and say, okay, this is the favorite, because it looks as though most of the players still left in the male and especially in the male category, they all have all equal chances of making this one count on Sunday.
We're going to count on Sunday, and we'll see how far this will go. Very important. And we'll go on a short break now. When we come back, we'll talk more of football matters here on Sports Talk on Atlantic Television Network. Don't go anywhere.
Telling him not to counterpunch.
All right, welcome back. If you're just joining us, it's Sports Talk here on Atlantic Television Network. We'll start with the Nigeria Premier Football League, where new technical advisor, Coach Amar Pakabo, has been unveiled as the man in charge of Abia Warriors heading to next season. He has signed a 2-year contract, and he will now be in charge of helping them, to see they can win another title. The last time he won the title was with Enugu Rangers in 2016.
Yeah, I think for him, Bakabo, he's no a newcomer into the system. He's been there for Enugu Rangers when they won their last title about 8 years ago. He was also there for this same Abia Warriors in 2000. So it's more like a second coming of this coach into the system to add more value to the Abia Warriors, who also had, maybe you call it an impressive season, because they went to the President Federation's Cup final, unfortunately losing that very one to Academy Warriors. So I think he will also be working in collaboration with the coach as well. So, and that makes it even more better for them, because when they harness and they cross-pollinate their ideas, it's going to be for the benefit of the team as well. So for me, I think he has what it takes to also turn this team around and compete effectively in the coming season against other top teams.
Compete in the coming season against other top teams, and I can tell you for sure that a lot of business is going on in sports. Away from that, let's talk other transfers in the Nigeria Premier League. But yesterday, we saw some transfers ongoing. Time will not avail us. So let's move now to the CAF Champions League. We have former champions, the Yimba Football Club, alongside 11 others have been exempted from the first final round of the CAF Confederation Cup. Others exempted are ROS of Morocco, ASEC Mimosa of Ivory Coast, Stade Malines of Mali, Zamalek of El Masry of Egypt, USM Algiers of Algeria, Simba of Tanzania. Others are SAS Vita of and FC Lupopo of DR Congo and South Africa. And this looks like these guys have done so well and have given the rank to go a step further, while others will continue from that side. So this is one thing about creating some form of history for yourself at the continental level.
Yes, and this is what it means. They have more like enough coefficient points out there. That is what it means. Is what the Europeans have also done so far this season as well. CAF is also trying to toe that line. If you have a rich history as a football club participating in the elite club competition here in Africa, you enjoy that benefit of not being part of the first stage of the competition. You relax and wait for those who are coming for the first time, or those who do not have rich history as well, to muzzle themselves through. You wait for the second round. That is what it means. Enyimba have written their name as one of those big clubs that have been exempted because of their past history. They have more coefficient points compared to other teams who is just making their debut appearance or doesn't have much history as well. And that is what it means, for you to be a big club. That is what it means for you to be a club that compete at the highest level, because histories will keep trailing you. And for me, I think it's a massive one for Enyimba. But for Enugu Rangers as well, I think they find themselves in Pot 1, which also invariably means that they will also be having more like a smooth sail as well, because finding yourself in Pot 1, it definitely means that you are among the best who is coming for the first time. So they'll also get maybe more like an easier draw in the first phase of the competition. But as the competition progresses, you're definitely going to see some of these big names coming up against each other. But one thing is very positive is that Enyimba will not enjoy the stress, will not exempt themselves from the stress of the first stage out there, which for me I think is very positive. And this we done on the clubs, on the Nigerian clubs, because if they realize this, they will begin to put more effort in the CAF Champions League, knowing fully well your effort counts for you, if not for the immediate season, but the season that is coming forth, because those history is there, the track record is there, and CAF technical committees and organizers, they are, keeping track with all of this history as well. So for me, I think it's more like a wake-up call for Nigerian club out there to also start competing, because the likes of Zamalek of Egypt, ASEC Mimosa, just name them, they've also written their name in the sands of history of CAF Champions League as well. So I think more responsibility for Nigerian club, especially for Enugu Rangers, who will be making, the appearance after a long while for the continent come this season.
And of course, we now talk about the camp of the Super Falcons, where it looks like the arrival of Aseda Shola and Onumono, a former, has kept the camp bubbling in fine fashion.
Yeah, that is what you expect. Some of these big names arrive in camp. About 12 or 13 players were in camp the other day. Now the camp is swelling and they are getting their groove on. The excitement of seeing your teammates, hitting the camp and the camp is bubbling, you cannot be overemphasized. And for me, it also helped the coach as well to get to interpret his philosophy and impact it upon these players, perfect your plan while going for the Paralympic game. I think it's a nice one. The presence of the African Footballer of the Year, talking about Asisa Oshola, would definitely count. It brings the morals of the camp very high and helps the players as well to sit up. So for me, I think it's a positive sign. Let's hope that Randy Waldrum and his girls is definitely going to go to the Paralympic game with this high spirit, after their last good performance in the Women World Cup out there. So for me, I think I'm very positive that come this Paralympic game, the Super Falcons will definitely exceed their previous performance.
They will should exceed the previous performance, and I can tell you that yesterday, Oli Watkins scored the goal that was needed to take England to the finals of this year's Euros. Another final for England, Mike.
Magical touch for Oli Watkins. The way he was able to turn and hit the ball direct to the post was very unbelievable. And that is what a coach brings in. When you have a coach that truly understands the timing of a substitution, he did the right thing at the right point in time. Harry Kane was misfiring. I mean, I had to sit back. I was discussing with a friend. I said, if Harry Kane was to be in the position of that boy, he wouldn't have scored that goal. But take a look at it, first time touch and the turn, and they slotted in a very tight angle. That is what a striker is made of. Only Watkins had a very good season with Aston Villa, and they just concluded season. So for me, I think it was an impressive one for, the English national team. After going down first in the first half of the game, they were able to find their way to respond after that penalty was awarded to England. But then I think the coach as well, you should also give him some praises after making some of those late-time substitutions, bringing in the likes of Cole Palmer, the likes of Oli Watkins, Conor Gallagher. I think they came in and made a difference. So for me, England back-to-back finals in the Euro, I think it's an impressive feat for them, but can they make it count against a very dogged and a very powerful Spanish team who have kept 100% record in this year's Euro? It's a big question. England, I want to say they are underachiever, no doubt. I mean, no disrespect rather to what Gary Southgate have done in the past 8 years, but then take a look at the history of England. Since the last time they won any major tournament dated back about 58 years ago. That is about 1966. And for me, you want to take a look at those history. You want to say, yes, you don't give them a chance coming up against a Spanish team that is full of, young, talented squad. But then it is football. Anything at all can happen. But it will be very, very good if England get to win this one, so that at least for the sake of Harry Kane, who has become a big name player over the years, but has failed to win anything, both in club and in a country level. And age is no longer in his side. So I think it would be a very good way for him to also end his career for the national team. You get to win this one. But then, football is not about pity. It's not about pity. It's about giving your best in the pitch of play. So most time emotion will not come in. But England, do they have what it takes to be able to absorb the pressure coming in from the La Rojas? Is a big question that they will truly need to answer on Sunday. Pity,
and of course, it looks like more celebration will come your way. But Mike, like I said, we'll get to see how England will go. Today on the show, I want to especially dedicate this show to Mrs. Victoria Hope Anama, who died yesterday, and the love that she shared around all around her will continue to live on. For me, It's deep, but I know that God knows best. I love you, Mrs. Victoria Hopanama, and you'll continue to rest in the bosom of God Almighty until the resurrection morning when we shall meet again. Mike, many thanks for being part of this conversation today.
Always a pleasure.
We'll be back later on, 6 p.m. for Sports Extraordinary. And of course, we'll take you through the happenings in sports. So our focus will be on the Euros and what next since finalists have emerged. Ekpo Temple is my name. Do have a lovely day. Bye-bye.